It's Ariel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. As you guys can tell about the title of this video, today we're going to be talking about the one and only way to successfully find an apartment in Paris. This video is going to be the first in a very long series. I'm currently looking to move for the 4th time in Paris, and so at this point I really do kind of consider myself a bit of an expert in this field. I want to document everything and speak about every single topic that comes up, with the purpose of giving you guys a very complete and thorough and helpful guide to apartment hunting in Paris, because especially for foreigners, it is very challenging. I think these videos are important to make as well because there are a lot of tools and tricks that you can use when you're apartment hunting, specifically in Paris, and if you aren't aware of them, you really are putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. All that to say, I hope this video and this series will be very helpful to you. We're going to explore literally every single topic you can think of about apartment hunting in France and in Paris. I'm going to take you on apartment visits so you can get an idea of what's available to you. But yeah, if you have any questions or any topics that you want me to explore or speak about a little bit more thoroughly, drop them in the comments below. I'll either answer or I'll film a video to respond. The whole point of this series is to give you guys the best resources possible for when you yourself are looking to move to Paris. Without further ado, let's get into today's video, which is arguably the most important topic, which is how to successfully find an apartment in Paris. Now, I made a very similar video last year when I was looking for my 3rd apartment in Paris, and I think in that video I gave you guys 3 or 4 different ways of finding an apartment in Paris, but what I've come to learn is that there really only is one successful method of apartment hunting in Paris, and that is through the app called Jinka, which is formerly known as Louer Agile. Jinka is an app that allows you to build your own type of alerts for apartments based on the criteria you're looking for. It's very simple. You log into this app, which is totally free. I will leave a link to the website down below, and you start by putting in all of the criteria that you're looking for in an apartment. Once you have all the information in and your search is saved, Jinka will send you an alert every single time an apartment is posted that meets the search criteria of what you're looking for. Now, these alerts come in live, like as soon as an apartment is posted, you get that notification. The reason why this app is so essential to you is that there are just so many websites and platforms that landlords and agencies use to post their apartments. You have Après, you have Soulager, you have Bien Ici, you have Le Bon Coin. There is just like dozens and dozens of different websites, and you don't have the time every 5 minutes of every single day to be checking each one of these websites. And the issue is that in Paris, there is such a high demand for apartments that if you don't respond within the first day, I would even say within the first few hours of a posting, you will not get to visit that apartment. You do not stand a chance. It is truly insanely essential that you are extremely reactive in responding to any sort of apartment announcement that you are interested in. You really have to go into this with the idea that there are 50 other people who are responding to the same ad within the same hour, and that these landlords and these agencies truly do have hundreds of people willing to rent their apartment, and one of the ways you can stand out is being the first or in the top 10 people to respond to their ad. Now, before we move on to how to actually respond to these ads in the correct way, I just want to quickly talk about how you can build the alerts and what criteria you can filter for on Jinka, because I really do think that they give you lots of useful options. You can start, of course, by putting in the location of where you want to find an apartment. With Paris, it's great because you can list all of the arrondissements that you're interested in. You set the price of rent that you're interested in. You can have a range. You know, you can say between 700 and 850 euros a month, and it will only show you apartments that fall into that price range. You can set the size you're looking for in square meters. You can also set different features and amenities that you're looking for. For example, if you're looking to have an elevator in the building, or if you're looking to have a balcony, if you want furnished or unfurnished, if you're looking for an apartment that is rented by an agency or by a landlord. I will be making a video describing the differences of these two categories. And one of the most useful filters I find is that you can actually also filter for whether or not you're willing to be on the first floor or the rez-de-chaussée, like the ground level. Personally, this is not an option for me, so I love that you can deselect that and you will not get any ads that give you the first floor. Another thing too to keep in mind when you're building these searches and you're looking through the criteria is that you can set several different searches to keep things separated and organized. Personally, I have two different searches saved right now. The first one one I have is unfurnished apartment through an agency, of course with like the location and the price and the square meters and all that as well in the filters. And the second is unfurnished with a landlord. And I really like to keep these two categories separate. First and foremost, I like to know what I'm getting myself into. And secondly, the way that I respond to an ad, if it's a landlord or if it's an agency, is a little bit different. So I just like to keep them categorically separated. It's really good as well because on your phone when you're getting notifications, it will list which one of your searches that the announcement is under. It's really great. It helps keep you organized. So when you're going through, make sure you take the time to go through all of the different criteria and to make as many searches as is useful to you. Now we're not done here. Just because you've made these alerts and you're going through the ads does not obviously guarantee you an apartment. The next step in this process is perfecting how you respond to the ads. Now, there are two ways that you can respond. You can either respond by sending a message to the landlord or to the agency saying that you're interested and that you're looking to organize a visit, or you can call them immediately. If you are very interested in one of the announcements you're seeing, you need to call. I know it can be scary if you're an Anglophone like me because when they pick up the phone, they will hear your accent and you could be worried that they'll judge you, or maybe you feel a little bit embarrassed in how you're speaking. But it is so important to call if you are really interested in an apartment, because I can tell you confidently that from all of the messages you send, maybe 25% will answer you. And if the apartment is a great deal or it looks really good, you need to remember that there are hundreds of people behind you fighting for that apartment as well. And if an agency is getting a lot of people calling them for visits, they're not even going to go through their messages. So if you're very interested, please make sure you're calling. That being said, sending messages as well is not so bad. You definitely do get some responses. You could even send a message and call. As well, when you're reading through the announcement, it might actually list even how the landlord or how the agency wants you to contact them. Sometimes they say specifically no calls and just messages, or they say no messages or calls, just texts. And it's good, obviously, if you follow what is written in the ad because it shows that you read the ad. I do just want to quickly talk about how to craft a message that you are sending to these agencies and landlords, because if you just send them a quick, hey, I'm interested, can we set up a visit? You will be ignored. Like, you really will be ignored. It shows that you didn't even put in the effort to send them relevant information about you as a candidate for the apartment. So when you're writing these messages, it's important, one, to write them in French, and two, to have good grammar. I would have a French person look over them, or I would run them through this website called Scribens. I will link that down below, and it sort of helps you correct, you know, easy and spottable French grammar errors that you probably don't want to send if you're really interested in an apartment. That's the first thing. The second thing about the content of the message is that you want to start with saying which apartment you're interested in. Obviously, sometimes they will have a reference number, or you can put the arrondissement that they're in. And then I go on to speak a little bit about who I am and why I'm looking for this apartment. One thing that's very important that you need to mention in your message is your status. For example, if you're a student who has parents that are going to sign on the contract as guarantors, or if you're like me, in my case, I have a job and I put the status of my job, which is a CDI, which is an indeterminate position, but there's also CDD, which is a determined position, like a contract with a duration. It's really good to mention this because if you have a CDI, you are a better candidate for their apartment because they know you have a stable job and it's not going to end with an end of your contract. You also want to mention the fact that you earned 3 times the rent. This is often a very important criteria for agencies and landlords alike. Most of them will not even let you visit the apartment unless you make 3 times the rent. That is how they measure if you are eligible or not to rent from them. So it's always really good if you can put into the message like, oh, I earned 3 times the rent, or oh, I earned 4 times the rent. That is the first question that they will ask you, so it's good to just get it out of the way, minimize the amount of back and forth that needs to happen, just give them everything they need up front. Another thing too that I'll add is that I'm looking for a long-term apartment, and I'll say, you know, I've been in my current apartment for over a year and I'm looking to move to another long-term apartment because I want to get closer to the office or something like that. You want to paint the picture of a long-term renter, someone who isn't just going to sign the contract, take the apartment, and then leave in a couple of months when school is over or when your contract is over, because these landlords and these agencies are not looking to waste their time. If they can get a renter in there that's going to stay for like 2 or 3 years, that is what they will prioritize. What I'll do for you guys is in the description of this video, I will leave like a little generic paragraph text of what you can take and modify with your own information, like your name and the arrondissement of the apartment and the reference number and all that you're looking for. And you can take that and you can copy paste it and you can send it to landlords, and you can know that it is a message that will work because it works for me. One final thing that I just want to reiterate about responding to these ads is that you need to be fast. You need to be immediate. As soon as you see the ad come up, as soon as you're interested, you need to be on the phone calling the agency, asking to set up a meeting. You need to be sending those messages. You can't wait days. Honestly, I would say you have 5 hours maximum to respond to an ad. I can tell you from experience that I've seen ads posted in the morning and I'm like, okay, I will respond on my lunch break 3 hours later. And the landlord or the agency already has a whole day already filled with viewings, and you end up with a really crummy time that no one else wanted, like at, I don't know, 4 p.m. as opposed to on your lunch break or early morning. And you also risk the possibility of not even getting a viewing. So it's very important. It is essential to respond immediately to any ad that interests you. So we've been on Jinka, we've created our search criterias, we have responded to ads that interest us, we've had viewings with landlords. What is the final step in ensuring that you are successful in getting the apartment that you want? It is to have your dossier ready to go, ready to be sent. In the same way that you had to be immediate in your responses to any announcements that interested you, you have to be immediate in sending in your dossier, like your candidacy for the apartment if it interests you. Go to the viewing, get their contact information, and send in the dossier within an hour of you leaving that apartment. You need to be in the top 5 people sending your dossiers because they will not read all of them. They will read the first few that come in, they'll pick the best candidate, and that's it. In order for you to have your dossier ready, I'm going to tell you exactly what every single agency, every single landlord wants so that you can already prepare this on your computer. You can put this in a Google Drive and you can literally just email them the link to your Google Drive with all of this information so that everything is fast and accessible to them for them to make their decision. The first thing you're going to need is a piece of ID. It could be your passport, it could be your driver's license, it could be your visa, your titre de séjour. The second thing you're going to need is your contract. And often, on top of your contract, it's also very likely that you'll need to give an attestation that comes from your employer within the last month. Like, it needs to be recent, and this attestation has to list your salary, the date you started working in the company, and also that the company does not have any intention of terminating your contract in the next 3 months. So you have work contract and work attestation. Then you'll also need to include your last 3 payslips. You'll also have to include your last 3 quittances de loyer, which is essentially the receipt for having paid your rent. So you need the last 3 of them. And finally, you will also need your avis d'impôt, which essentially says that you have paid your taxes and you do not owe money to the government. Voila, that about sums it up. This is a guaranteed and foolproof way for you to get viewings, for you to find your dream apartment in Paris. This is honestly the only way that you will be successful in your apartment hunting. I hope this video has been helpful. I hope it has been clear to you guys. Please let me know down below if you need any clarifications or if you have any questions on this topic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.